Jaden Hardy entered the year as one of the most hyped and anticipated prospects as a member of the G League Ignite. He didn't get off to the greatest start and lost some of that early intrigue, but I think many have swung too far in the opposite direction. At 6'4", about 200 pounds, Hardy still showed off a lot of that appeal as a scorer and definitely as a shooter, and his improvement down the stretch made it a little easier to see his overall upside. When you talk about the best potential shooters in this draft, Jaden Hardy's name should come up a lot more often than it does. He has top tier balance, footwork, a quick release, and good range. The raw splits definitely won't convince you or wow you, but you have to keep in mind the adjustment to the pros, the NBA line, and a lot of his role that'll likely be different than what we've seen so far. He shot right under 40% on all catch and shoot attempts and an excellent 53% on those that were unguarded. He didn't have too many possessions off screens, but has all the tools to be really good there, and is on my short list of best potential movement shooters.
24 turnovers for Ignite in this game.
In need of a bucket. They get it.
Lead 27, 67-40, the Wolves in front.
To update their mock. And Vila, the 30-year-old big, checks in.
To be successful at the NBA level. Amir Coffey just knocked down another three. I go Caliente.
Hardy's three is in.
Jaden Hardy has a wide open three.
Hardy.
Hello, that's what you find out. Find what you do well. Get to the NBA. Hardy takes the three.
Hardy for three. Every time out. And he's young. Zhang is only 18 years old. Hardy.
He really was a non-factor in the first meeting. They could use his size that time.
Down by 4, under 4 minutes to play here in this first half. Hardy, pump fake, nails it.
Zhang. Back to Hardy.
Such a humble young man, and he's so grateful for this opportunity.
Not an easy pass there, folks.
Cutting, Jaden Hardy, 17-footer, bounces in there.
Hardy is a natural-born scorer, and putting the ball in the bucket is what he's about at the end of the day. We'll talk about some of the things he may need to work on, but he has clear multiple-level scoring ability already. His footwork really shines here, whether pulling up from 3 or getting to his spot in the mid-range, a few different variations of pullbacks, and also using a lot of slow to fast to create an advantage. And while he wasn't very efficient, his numbers were better or in the same range as last year's top 10 picks Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga.
Excuse me.
Had to check with our guy Paul Evans.
That's one the C-Dubs need.
Ooh. Games that count. Fort Wayne's coming in. They're a good team.
Hardy.
Hardy to beat the buzzer.
Go outside. Hardy pulls up. And the mid-range shot.
Mario Chalmers can't believe it.
Yeah, neither can Jet Terry. Watch him get his own shot.
Oh, Hardy with the
Free
heavy.
to make two also.
Yeah.
Okay, so it all balances out.
Step back three. Knock it down.
Veterans on this Ignite team. Wearing number 55 now in the game. Hardy the step
Keeps
back.
the party going in the second with a nice three.
21 now for Newman. Okay, that's what
Jaden.
Got it out to Murphy. Step back 2 on the way.
Young players trying to make it to the NBA without that stop and at the college.
You have to start making some defensive stops.
Hardy with the step back.
I really like his potential in the pick and roll, especially as a scorer, but some as a playmaker as well. He played with great pace, did a pretty good job of setting up screens, snaking when necessary, and reading the unders and coverages the big man was in. And even when the shots didn't fall, he was getting to his spots pretty consistently, and it was already his most popular play type by a wide margin.
Years of age, years ago.
Before they had the G League.
Lead 5 for the C-Dubs. Jaden Hardy.
On the night, and we've seen him finish at the rim. More importantly, you see him commanding defensively, stepping up. But
And there are just so many good players in the NBA G League. Hardy, tricky dribble.
Uniforms. Walker Collective's own Ken Walker will talk to us
For Ignite. Hardy into a jumper.
Showing out for Cleveland. Normally when we think of James showing out for Cleveland, you
Easy
think
deuce after easy deuce after easy deuce. Jaden Hardy.
Another late closeout from Ignite.
Baylor now 30. Extinguishes that 15-0 run. And 11 straight to open the fourth. And how about Hardy?
And on the playmaking side, I didn't expect too much coming in, and he still has a lot of work to do as an overall decision maker, but I was impressed with the progression he made as a passer throughout the year. He made plays in the pick and roll, mostly hitting the roll man, and then had some dump offs, wraparounds, and sneaky creative moments here as well. It's not something I'd say is there enough to be an immediate strength, but I like his potential as a secondary guy in the future.
Now it's Foster. Stevenson now in double figures. He's got 10. Hardy has a dump off to go in.
Hardy. Nice
Love the
decision.
support for James. Now the timeout. Great look inside. Beautiful.
A couple of possessions gone away from what had been working for them as
He'll make his debut Thursday in Stockton. Hardy to the cutting Amir.
Selfish upon unselfish upon unselfish. The extra passing.
Santa Cruz loves Dunbar for his high-energy play.
Good interior defense from Wilson. Now Hardy, the kick out to the corner. And again.
He reminds me of Jay Crowder a little bit. But similar ilk, you know.
Jaden Hardy, dish off. Nice rebound, Daniels. Hardy, nice feed to Dakari Allen.
taken away by Daniels. Up the floor, Hardy to Foster. Two hands again down the middle.
Very solidly built. Hardy the steal, outletting for Dakari Allen.
Uh-oh.
Now onto the improvement areas. One of the bigger things holding Hardy back is his ability to finish at the bucket. He shot under 40% on fairly high volume, and his struggles here were apparent when watching. He's not very explosive, and he's prone to taking an ill-advised attempt, making things really difficult, clutches, poorly reading that second level, getting blocked, or just taking a tough angle. In order to really progress as a scorer, he's going to need to address this in a big way, and also convert some of these attempts into free throws or looks for his teammates. The positive here is, despite not being the absolute quickest, he was able to get to the basket more often than I expected coming in, which is definitely important.
He creates some space, that's a tough shot.
system and him able to grow. So I think that integration, and he said most of the time we're talking about young players, you have to teach them the defensive side of it. With Dyson Daniels,
In the preseason.
Shot it well in Summer League as well.
Scoop for a league for a long time, but he started out at Detroit fresh out of high school.
That's a great point. It's a different perspective.
Pretty looking shot, comfortable doing many things. Hardy also, his 10-footer no good.
I'll be the fan, I'll get him hyped.
See him right there going low, attacking right off the hip. Takes the contact. That's why he's
His first step. That paint area was pretty wide open.
Hardy all the way to the cup.
Hardy attacking.
Free scoop at the Penny Ice Creamery. Down the lane, Hardy.
What might be the biggest reason a lot of people turn their heads, aside from some early season shooting splits, was Hardy's overall decision making. Even with some of the playmaking flashes, he still operated with a very score first, ask questions last kind of mindset, which can be fine, but those possessions where he'd go one and done with a pull-up three and no action, some of the over dribbling, unforced errors, and lack of consciousness of time and score has to take a step back.
Jeter picks up his dribble over to Hardy. Step back, three.
Some of them have been in the NBA, others are heading to the NBA, like this guy with the ball right now.
Here's Hardy on the left side. Good defense on the ball by Bowen. Step back three.
Hardy. Attacking inside, couldn't hit.
Oh my.
A lot of dancing by Hardy.
Hardy has it ripped.
We got numbers. Let's see if Hardy got something special for us.
High 17 threes on Friday. Big difference as we hit the final minutes.
good body on him, great size, gets to the paint. We'll take the assist on that one, Coach Gansey said.
Coach Gansey.
So another Ignite showcase players. Good stuff.
Defensively, Hardy is a work in progress. The consistency and awareness and effort off the ball wasn't there for most of the year. He'd get caught ball watching or get lost as his man relocates or cuts back door. I think his screen navigation needs a lot of work, really just making this entire end of the floor a point of emphasis. But from an overall or macro perspective, he still exceeded some expectations and had better moments than I would have thought given how he looked at the start.
Rebound. Take rebounds away from Bex.
King with a chance for an open three.
To the corner. Jalen Johnson up top and a three.
Trying to get to 6 and 3 with a win tonight. Inside!
8 minutes to play in the first half. We've talked about the ignite. How about
You really can't contact him. And so the thing is, it's a smart play by Michael Foster.
Cooper goaltending?
This game unfolds. Here's Miller driving baseline. Miller up. Holman. Mack all the way.
It's the fader. Malik.
Jaden Hardy is going to be able to give these young guys a lot of experience. First of all, he played in the NBA for many, many years. But he also came out of high school. He can
Fling it over to Moody. Putting on a dribbling display. Scores. Hey, back home. I'm saying Dad Ramsey sitting right here beside me. And now he's doing it.
Look at the ignite, the defensive help.
Dominguez driving, spinning.
Poked away by Hardy. Hits on the ground.
A demonstration play.
we're investing in this.
Ball stolen away, lob pass in front.
Pass out of reach for Wilson.
In a 10-game tour. Jeffrey.
I still think best case scenario, Jaden Hardy is somewhere in that high level starter range to possibly a step above that if everything comes together. He'll likely land somewhere from the mid-teens to the end of the first round, and I'd probably start giving him a look at the end of the lottery depending on the team, and I'd most like to see him end up in a spot like Memphis, Dallas, or Milwaukee. For comparisons, I think there's a lot of Gary Trent Jr. to his game. Obviously not quite the current defender GT turned into with Toronto, but there are some real similarities there.
With the Raptors will be in Toronto Friday night. Trent for three.
Bottom on this jump. Trent Jr. behind his back into the paint.
Great for this Jazz offense. You hit one guy, there's another guy more wide open.
Strus picks up Gary Trent.
Oh, that's Toronto, despite undersized, they are number 2 in the league in offensive rebound.
Jaden Hardy still has tons of potential and some of the most natural shooting and scoring talent in his draft. If he can refine his game a bit, keep improving on some of those areas we talked about, I think he has the makings of a high impact player despite what his shooting splits might have suggested. Depending on where he lands in the draft, he could be an easy pick for the steal of it.
O'Shea gon' be the first, so I'll forever be the second. Who rep Lamar Park is something you ain't got a question. They like, damn, grown up, better than we expect.
You can sit up on my shoulder.